found what I thought was missing in Delancey Street. Yeah, I found it through recovery, which it was a different solution, not a solution from the problem, but a solution that was not of the problem. Yeah, so in AA we would call it a spiritual solution. In really it's just a condemnation or a negating of a mental solution, because usually the mental problem resides in the mentality, and then we're usually using the mentality to solve it. Yes, which is the fundamental problem. Yeah. So in recovery, we have a statement in the community. It says self can't get out of self, which explains quite a lot if you really hear it. And even yesterday, I was at a meeting of AA, and we were reading from this book, and it says. It describes the dilemma as obsession with self. I believe it's identification of self, but whatever. And then it goes, and all your wishful thinking or trying will not get you out of it. So you see, it's in AA we do a lot, but the doing isn't what's doing it. Yeah, we do a lot of actions in the beginning, but the doing isn't what's doing it. The doing produces a space for something else to do it. Yes? So people think, well, this is a program of action. It is a program of action, but it's not going to go far if it's your action. Yes? If it's just an action without a desire for an outcome, then maybe it can be directed and made into something. Yeah. So, all right, getting back to where I was going, which I forgot already. Yeah, I know, it was great. All right, so it must be this something else, and as not you explains its sight to you. Yeah. So that which is talking to you as you is not you. Yes. This is the dilemma in recovery. Recovery, you finally see a little bit of your role in things, and you get lifted out of the consequential level. But then there's a voice that says it's the one that's been lifted out of the consequential level, and that's what you're not. It assumes to be you, and then you stop there. So denying what you are and firm in faith that you are something else, this something else that you have made to be yourself becomes your sight. Yet it must be the something else that sees, and as not you, explains its sight to you ad nauseum. Yes? Your vision would, of course, render this quite unnecessary. Your vision, the awareness would render this quite unnecessary, because if the awareness was emphasized, instead of that which is having the vision, you would have immunity to the effects of the vision. Yeah? Mind would rest in the awareness instead of that which comes after, that implies to be before. You would rest in the before. In recovery, we have it the experience of pause. Yeah, that pause is that's our nature before thought. Yeah, that's what we are. We're before thought. The vision we're listening to, the interpretation of the vision we're listening to is thought. It comes after what we are, but it implies something that we are before what we are, which is what we're not. This is the whole point. This is why we get stumped, because we feel like we're looking for ourselves from ourselves. I want to find my authentic self because I'm a somewhat bogus self, but you're still the thing you're looking for. But this is saying, no, you're before it. You're before the idea of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler. You're that which is seeing, thinking, feeling, doing, having, losing, all this, yeah? Everything is just verbing. So it goes, made this quite unnecessary. Your vision would, of course, render this quite unnecessary. But if your eyes are closed and you have called it, you have called it to explain to the world it sees, you have no reason not to listen nor to suspect that what it is telling you is not true. But now we do have reason, don't we? Now we do have reason after 12 relationships and none of them working, and finally you see you're the one constant in all of them. Yes? And then you see that something reigns supreme in your life and is withholding you from a lot of beautiful situations and circumstances because of a fear based on some other fucking made up circumstance and situation. And it constantly professes it's looking out for your fucking interests, but it isn't. It's looking out for its own interests, just like any parasitical movement would be. The parasite convinced the host that it's the host, and therefore you live for the parasite's agenda at the expense of yours. And then you end up at a meeting like this, and then after 20 years of saying, that you've been trying to get out of self for self, you finally come to the conclusion, hey, that's not working. Or you hear a great meditation teacher say after 30 years, a lot of his followers who've been with him for 25 years, he's been hearing from them about, hey, nothing's fucking happened. So you go, well, I'm getting off of that bus. And then maybe, just maybe, you hear non-duality, and maybe it just puts the horse in front of the cart for once. And it makes fucking sense. Not to that which is interpreting the vision, but the awareness. Yeah? So the Buddha finally hears about how useless it is to seek itself with itself. And then there's fucking results. You lose interest in all these freaking mental pursuits, and you gain interest in what? In today, in this space, in the people that are in it. And it comes about with no thought or effort. You're not fucking working hard. And what floods really in is acceptance of what you're not, which is mind-boggling. Because what you're not is never going to accept itself, ever. It's always going to punish you for not being enough. It's always going to remember all the sins that you've committed. You've been already convicted by it. But to have acceptance around that, yeah? To live today seemingly as what you're not, freed from all the fucking persecutions of yesterday and tomorrow, is fucking pretty nice way to go on a Saturday. Maybe you can look forward to a freaking coffee at Chivo's, yeah? Maybe you'll never get gypped again. You'll be here completely because you can't be anywhere else. Yeah?